Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our webinar series Ecommerce Espresso. It's great to see so many familiar names popping up, but if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Ecommerce Espresso is an e-commerce webinar that is designed to be short enough and sweet enough that you can listen along in your coffee break. So I've actually got my cup of tea here. I'm not really a coffee girl, but each to their own. But because of this, there won't be a Q&A, but please, if you have any questions that you'd like to put to me, LoyaltyLion, or today's guest, then please do tweet us at LoyaltyLionHQ using the hashtag Ecommerce Espresso, and I promise we'll get back to you. Right, so let's not let those coffees or teas go cold and jump straight in. So today I am very excited to be joined by Gavin Laugenie from dotdigital. Gavin, did you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a bit more about you and your work at dotdigital.
Oh, okay, yeah. So good pronunciation of my surname, by the way. Well done. So yeah, I'm Gavin from dotdigital, head of strategy and insight there. Essentially, I help clients understand a little bit more about email marketing, what they could be doing and using our platform a little bit more. As it suggests, sort of strategizing as well, understanding, how planning forward and what we could be doing next and what's going to make the most bang for your buck. And also, I am that awful selfie guy when you go to talks and I'm talking on behalf of dotdigital. I'm up there taking selfies and spreading the word of email marketing. Someone told me the other day that I'm an email evangelist, but I'm not sure I'd like that term. Yeah.
I've seen the selfies. I think I've even been in one actually at one point. So yeah.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. Yeah. Yeah.
The infamous selfies.
Infamous selfies.
Yeah, fantastic. Great to have you on board. So I do have a few questions lined up for you today. Funnily enough, they're going to be in the email sphere. So we've got our evangelist on the call. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to hear your thoughts on the first question. So as things are changing over the next few months, I'd be interested to hear what type of content brands should be communicating with their customers.
Yeah. I with this one, it's a funny one because I feel like brands should already be adopting some of these tactics. It's a weird one. So in the space already, inboxes are often kind of full with a whole host of things that are useless or boring or just purely sales orientated, and they miss the mark completely. And now with the dreaded COVID, it's even worse. Inbox are flooded because people are starting to use the channel a hell of a lot more. So more than anything, what your content needs to be is authentic. It needs to be authentic. It needs to be honest, and it needs to be engaging. And all of those things are kind of useful. And as long as your content's useful, this is the other thing as well. Useful content is going to be valuable content, and people will either they can use it straight away or they can come back to it at another point in time. But that's literally what everyone's looking for. They're looking for useful content, and that is whether you're in whatever sort of vertical, whether it's B2B, B2C, NFP, and you've just got to show what your personality is, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Back to that authenticity point that you made at the beginning, it's key to grabbing customers' attention. And if you're looking to create long-term relationships, you're not just about the short term, then yeah, absolutely. That identity piece is key.
Yeah, that long-term connection is definitely one. Especially as we kind of lead up to now, or you should be getting ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the whole holiday period. When you sort of look to hook people in, you need to be thinking about long term and not just that short term gain of collecting a new email address or something and just hitting them for that holiday period. You've got to look further than that as well. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, connecting on an emotional level. It's going to be long term. It's all about increasing lifetime value in the long run. So
exactly.
And it's what consumers are actually looking to see at the moment as well. They're wanting to find brands that they can connect with and have a good relationship with. They don't want to shop from faceless brands like Amazon. So a couple of stats for you here, which I found quite recently. So almost 70% of US millennials consider company values when shopping. And almost 70% of customers said that they're motivated to shop by knowing that a brand share those values as them. So yeah, communicating those values is really key.
100%. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, so kind of on that note, I was also hoping to ask you what impact integrating the ethical causes and ethical responsibilities, what impact does that have into integrating that into your marketing?
Yeah, I hear this a lot more now, this sort of ethical responsibility. And you almost want to look at what that means first. And it's, for me personally, it's brands who are still looking to be commercially viable, but at the same time they're sort of backing a cause in society, whether that's going to be chopping into their carbon footprint, which we're actually doing, little plug for ourselves, or you're making charitable donations, which we're actually doing as well. But it goes back to just being useful, really, and valuable content. So these are things that people can kind of link into. There's very few products that are completely unique. Usually you've got some sort of alternative or a competitor. So a lot of the times, because you're being really samey, you're going to have something that kind of sets you apart a little bit. And it's going to be that cause that you get behind. It's going to be something that people can back, that you're going to have to use. Otherwise, if you're just so samey, people can go elsewhere, as I said, or they'll just switch off and they'll unsubscribe, and you'll be losing sort of subscribers. So it's a difficult one, but all of these things are difficult, right? If they were easy, everyone would be doing it. But I think what this kind of highlights is people need to think a lot more about the content that they're pushing out there, and thinking about the brand values that you have too, and that's what people will buy into ultimately.
Yeah, no, that's interesting that you mention churn and losing customers before. That's definitely something I can empathize with as a consumer. If you've got two brands offering a very similar product at a very similar price point, if one of them is vegan, cruelty-free, comes in sustainable packaging that aligns with my beliefs, I'll probably go for that one. So yeah, I can definitely empathize with that. On that note, we've got a good stat here as well. So 62% of people that we survey said that they would join a loyalty program if some of the rewards they offered had a positive social impact. So quite kind of the traditional approach to loyalty is you get discounts, you get money off, that kind of thing. But we work with several brands who tie in that ethical piece really nicely into their loyalty program. So couple of my favorite examples, we've got Pacifica Beauty, so they're a vegan, cruelty-free makeup brand, but they offer points for taking part in their recycling program, so it's a good way to bring that in. And Edgard Cooper, they're a pet brand. They actually offer donations to dog charities, so they're a pet brand as a reward, so it all just ties in nicely.
That's what you're looking for. It's you say loyalty, but that's exactly what you're looking for, and especially in these times now, where we've seen a lot of consumers moving to an alternative brand. Loyalty is going to play a huge part. Like what you can do to stop people drifting across, or if you have gained someone new, what you can do to keep them. I think all of those points kind of loop back into making sure that you've got something that people can get behind, and loyalty is definitely something that they can connect with. So I do love that.
And talking of getting people on board, getting them behind your brand, obviously a really good way of doing this is getting people signed up to your newsletters. So this is your area of expertise. I'm sure everybody listening is keen to know, what are your top 3 tips for boosting on-site newsletter signups?
Should I cheat and just say test? Is that gonna be no?
Testing is important, definitely.
Testing is important. You've got to have a decent value proposition. You know, why should someone give you explicit access into their inbox? It's the whole what's in it for me.
Yeah.
You know, there's a trade-off there. Make it worth their while. So work on what that sort of value proposition is going to be, and ask for it. Actually ask for it. The amount of times that people, I speak to clients, I won't name any names, but I speak to clients and they say, yeah, we're just, not getting as many people in the top of the funnel. I'm like, well, how are you actually asking for it? And they're not really asking for it at all. They're not giving up the real estate on their website to actually get that email address. So I always talk about the top, middle, and bottom. If you can give up the top of your page for sign up, if you can give up the bottom of your page for sign up, and in the middle of the page is having a pop-up. And people talk about pop-ups being annoying and whatnot, but they actually do their job. They really work. So ask for it, actually ask for it, and use different places on your website as well. Offline is difficult at the moment, but if you've got other places that you can ask for it, then ask for it. And then to go back to my cheat right at the beginning, I would say test again. Best practice is only best practice if it actually works for you. So I can say these things, but actually you've got to go out there and test and make sure that it's actually fitting into your company structure. You're actually getting results from it. If you're getting results, then keep doing it. If you're not, scrap it and move on to something else. But you've got to come up with ideas of what you should be testing and actually give it a chance to work. Don't just cut it off too early.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know you made obviously the joke at the beginning, but I would agree testing really is probably one of the most important things. Listening to data as well, the data that you've had. So yeah, looking at the results, determining actually what's working rather than, what your gut's telling you, what your head's telling you, actually getting down into it and taking a look at what you can do with the data that you have.
That is the key one, the gut feeling. I've had that several times with clients. Oh, we've got a feeling. Like, well, that's a hypothesis. Check it out.
Take a look at the data.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was developing a value proposition, asking for it, and testing.
And testing.
Okay. Okay, great. No, some really good tips there. I like the fact that you've touched on creating this valuable exchange with the consumer as well. I think there are so many times that newsletter signups, loyalty program signups as well, that's kind of what I work with, that these opportunities are lost because the value just isn't clearly communicated enough, or there isn't enough value in the first place. If you're expecting your customers to actually hand over their data to you, you've got to make it worth their while. Definitely. Oh, I think I just broke off there. Am I back?
You're back. I wasn't sure if it was me or you.
This is one of the joys of working from home. Okay, well, that's come at a relatively good time because we've gone through most of the questions that we wanted to. But yeah, thank you very much, Gavin. That is pretty much all we have time for today. And that brings us to the end of our Ecommerce Espresso. So I hope you all found it valuable and you've been left with some great ideas and insights. As always, we will be sharing the on-demand recording. So don't worry if you feel you've missed something, you can always go back and check later on. But one last big thank you, Gavin, for being today's guest speaker. So remember, if you have any questions for either dotdigital and Gavin or myself at LoyaltyLion, just tweet at LoyaltyLionHQ using the hashtag Ecommerce Espresso. Right, we'll hope to see you all again online soon.
Hi everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ecommerce Espresso. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more of these short but insightful webinars, you can catch all of our previous episodes over on our YouTube channel. Just search for LoyaltyLion. Before you go, why not see if you can identify the gaps in your loyalty strategy that are costing you the most with our retention score sheet. You can see how your approach matches up with our downloadable tool over on loyaltylion.com/retention score sheet. That's loyaltylion.com/retention score sheet with no spaces. We'll see you soon for our next Ecommerce Espresso.